And in the Impact segment tonight, let's go to Wales in the United Kingdom, where FNC's chief White House correspondent Henry standing by, pocket hanky perfect as always. So what's the headline over there? Is anything getting done? Should the ISIS people be quaking? What's going on with the NATO conference?
No. What you see at a lot of these summits, a lot of talk, not really a lot of action. I don't want to dismiss it entirely because I do think this is probably the most consequential NATO summit we've seen in many, many years. It's probably not saying a lot because previous ones, again, have been a lot of talk. But right now, it's about dealing with Ukraine and Russia, pushing back on Putin. It's about winding down our mission in Afghanistan, which we can't forget about, which is a big deal, especially because what we've seen happen in Iraq after we left there, Afghanistan may be next, and terrorists that might be a breeding ground for them in the months and years ahead. So we've got to pay attention to that. But then, of course, ISIS is overshadowing all of it. But frankly, so far, it's been a lot of talk. We're going to get tough, but they haven't done anything substantively yet.
Now, 75% of the NATO budget is paid for by the American taxpayer. I mean, again, we lead the world in protection. We're paying for everything. But with Putin on the march and defying the West, and with ISIS obviously wanting to kill any Westerner they can, do you think that the NATO people are going to wise up? Are they going to become more aggressive in defense?
No. I think, again, they're becoming more aggressive in the rhetoric, but I'll give you a very concrete example. The big headline out of this summit so far is that they're going to create what they call a rapid response team of NATO troops to deal with Putin. Exactly, 4,000 troops. How many troops does Putin have inside Ukraine right now? Well over 1,000 by many reports. How many has he had on the Ukrainian border? 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 in recent months, not right at this moment, but in recent months, he's had many times that 4,000 troops. So, look, I don't want to dismiss it entirely. NATO is trying to get tougher, but 4,000 troops stationed in Europe is going to have a minuscule effect in deterring Putin and anyone else in this region. So let's be clear about that.
Now, I'm being unfair when I say that President Obama looks weak to the world. I mean, do you pick up the fact that is he in charge in NATO, or are they looking to him to lead, or is he just one of the pack?
Well, he wants to be one of the pack and doesn't always want it to be all about the U.S. Being a superpower. And as you say, that ends up blowing up in his face sometimes. In terms of ISIS, look, he was at a news conference a year ago at the White House, August of 2013, was talking about al-Qaeda core being decimated, was asked by John Carl of ABC, what about these other splinter groups like ISIS? ISIS was not mentioned, to be honest and clear and truthful, but groups like that. And the president said, we're formulating a strategy. This is a real threat. Well, here we are a year later, and he got into that trouble last week saying we don't have a strategy to deal with ISIS in Syria yet. Well, look, it's been at least a year that he knew groups like this were popping up. And so does he look weak? He looks weak because of that, because he's still trying to find a strategy. Now, David Cameron has been more aggressive in his rhetoric and maybe looks stronger. But in fairness, David Cameron hasn't taken any other big action beyond what the president's done. David Cameron is not ordering British airstrikes into Syria on his own. He knows he needs the U.S., and that's why American leadership is so critical here. And the president's been talking about it for a year and hasn't followed through yet.
Well, look, I mean, I like Cameron at least raising the issue for the world. You know, Tony Blair was fairly strong on the anti-terror front, helped President Bush a lot, and then that's controversial in the end on Iraq. Well, all right, look, I want to be fair to Mr. Obama, but I do believe he looks weak in the eyes of the villains anyway. All right, Ed Henry in Wales, everyone, directly ahead. New poll on illegal immigration says Americans want more security on the border. Laura Ingraham and I will discuss it. And then, did the White House spokesman mislead the American public on ISIS? Our Truth Serum segment is coming up. Also, the State Department after me. Pretty amusing. We'll be right back.